right before sunrise. Here we go into the next several days. 58 for New Year's afternoon, 59 on Friday. Watching for rain to arrive late in the day Friday, maybe even after sunset. Widespread rain through the overnight into Saturday. Wouldn't rule out a storm or two embedded within that, but not concerned about severe weather or anything like that. And then as we roll our way into next week, temperatures above the norm, back in the 60s for Monday and Tuesday.
I can't wait for next week. Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us for Good Day Atlanta. Sherry is coming up next.
And as always, we invite you to stay connected to Fox 5 around the clock. There are a lot of ways to do that. We are live streaming throughout the day on our website. That's fox5atlanta.com. You also can find us on Fox Local for your smartphones and streaming devices. And listen in on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network at 1079 HD2 FM.
You can also follow us on social media like our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page. Follow us on X and Instagram at Fox 5 Atlanta and subscribe to our Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel. You can join us again for Fox 5 News at noon, followed by Portia at 1. We hope you have a wonderful final day of 2025. Be safe celebrating if you're going out tonight. And we hope you'll join us again later. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Good Thursday morning, everyone, and happy New Year's Eve. Welcome to Fox 5 on Fox Local. I'm Alex Whitler. Thank you all so much for choosing to stream us however you do so. We are live on fox5atlanta.com, the free Fox Local app. We're also live on our Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel and TikTok, and those two platforms are what makes this a news conversation. So if there is a story that resonates with you, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I can respond in real time. That said, our top story this hour is one that many of you have been talking about for days now. If you could take a moment, look live at this long line of burnt orange. These are the monks that are participating in a 2,300-mile walk for peace. They're making stops in the metro area. They've been in and around our neighborhoods for the past couple of days now. Apparently, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday today as part of this ongoing pilgrimage from Texas to Washington, D.C. They have been walking now for months, literally, since October. So the monks will make their way from Scottdale to Snellville to be reunited with Venerable Mahadam, the abbot of Waklo Buddha Kanti, who was seriously hurt earlier in this journey. This is what might be what has so many people coming back to learn more about this. One of the monks was amputated and yet is still going to come back and continue walking. So they'll be escorted by Gwinnett County Police going from the Home Depot at 4136 Jimmy Carter Boulevard along Lawrenceville Highway to Harmony Grove Road. So they're expected to arrive any minute now. We were told 11 a.m. You see them walking here. You see the cars parked on the side of the road. Gosh, the sun looks beautiful beaming on them, but we know it is very cold out there. Apparently, they did get some checkups from officials with Grady Memorial, just because these are some intense conditions that they're putting their bodies through. They've even got a furry friend out there. The dog's name is Aloka. So just a lot of people have been interested in all of this. So here's something else to give you some perspective here. If you were thinking, maybe I'll go out there and try to see them before they head out again later in the afternoon. There is no parking at the temple. Gwinnett Public Transportation is providing a shuttle, though, from the Goodwill parking lot at 3033 Centerville Highway. It's in Snellville. That'll start in about an hour at noon, and it'll run every 15 minutes. So the monks will greet the public. You're seeing some of that footage there between 2 p.m. and 6, maybe even 8 p.m. And because that gathering is taking place at the temple, they've provided information on proper etiquette for visitors. We recognize a lot of you are curious. You might not know how to be respectful of this culture and religion. So they are asking visitors to speak quietly and respectfully, dress modestly, and please remove your shoes before entering the temple. Additionally, they're reminding people to avoid public displays of affection on the temple grounds. Don't point feet at images of Buddha or altars, and do not touch monks unless a monk encourages you to do so. So that's all really important information, especially if you're not familiar with the proper protocol here. So future stops in Georgia appear to include Lithonia, Athens, and Alberton. Exact locations haven't been released just yet, but each day the monks post more and more information about their schedule, including times and addresses for lunch breaks. They're people too. They've still got to refuel themselves, and evening gatherings on their Facebook page. I want to let you guys know something. One of my co-anchors, Buck Lanford, today on Good Day Atlanta, turned to me and said, "Hey, my sister walked out of her house today, saw a flashing blue light, didn't know what it was about, maybe for the new year. And then she saw the monks walk right by her mailbox." Could you imagine? So this is something that people are noticing from all different sides of the metro Atlanta community. So if you're curious about where this pilgrim will end, it won't be anywhere in Georgia, I can tell you that much. It'll instead be in Washington, D.C. The monks aren't expected to make their way to the end of this journey until February, but depending on how you look at it, it'll be here before you know it. That said, there are still a lot of other local stories that I want to keep you guys up to date on. I know this is a hard turn here, but it is important. Another story that I know many of you want to learn more about. So a man was killed late last night following some sort of chase. Then he ran away, and there was a shooting. This all happened in Gwinnett County. I'm giving you this information directly from police. So we now know the suspect's name. It's Brent Elvin Ivy. He's 39, from Decula. He was shot and killed in this incident. No officers were hurt. So Gwinnett County Police said that officers responded around 11:30 last night to the 5700 block of Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. They did receive information about a car connected to an incident in another jurisdiction. And during that encounter, police said the man rammed a marked patrol car, disabling it, and then drove away. So additional officers ended up finding that car. They did chase after it. It ended in that driver crashing, and police say the man then tried to run away. And of course, they went after him again. Officers reportedly issued multiple loud verbal commands, but the man didn't comply. And an officer tried to deploy a taser, but they say it wasn't successful. During that chase, police say the man pulled out a gun on them. They returned. They ended up hitting that man. And authorities say the suspect fell to the ground, then turned and pointed a firearm toward officers. So that's when even more shots were fired. Obviously, as soon as we learn anything else about this situation, you'll get an update from us. But we do also want to talk about something that's of interest, I'd say. A lot of people want to buy a home. A lot of people are struggling to buy a home. So U.S. home buyers have been flocking to a fast-growing city situated within the Blue Ridge Mountains. And don't just take my word for it. This is all coming from the Census Bureau. So essentially, the population in Greenville, South Carolina, is just about 2 hours from here, and it's become a real regional business and manufacturing hub. If you're familiar with the area, you probably know this, but if you're not, hopefully this is news you can use. Let me know either way, either on our Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel or on our TikTok, so I can get a sense of how you guys are feeling about this news. But their whole population here increased from about just over 70,000 people at the 2020 census to an estimated 74,000 people 4 years later. So that's about a 4% increase in just 4 years. So this uptick comes despite the fact that there's been little movement in the housing market due to high borrowing costs and limited inventory in many regions. And it's also because of this so-called lock-in effect, which refers to homeowners staying put because their existing mortgage rates are significantly lower than current ones. So according to the Greenville Area Development Developmental Corporation, the area has become home to major manufacturing, technology, and aerospace employers over the years, making it more and more attractive to potential homeowners and businesses. So just to give you an example here, BMW has automotive operations in a nearby Spartanburg County. Michelin North America's headquarters are in Greenville, along with a major hub for Lockheed Martin's aviation operations. And then there's also GE aerospace facilities that are in the area, which all, as you can imagine, boost the economic draw. So Realtor.com senior economist Joel Brenner underscored how Greenville's strong economic growth led to a housing market that looks really different from most of the rest of the South, where prices are falling in many metros. So that's a direct quote there. And on that same vein, we want to know, what is it that's attracting people to properties, especially those of you who are real estate agents in the Atlanta area. I know that's a big business around here. You want to know, how can you better sell a home, make some more money? So if you are interested in selling your own home, not even a real estate agent, maybe in 2026, maybe you might want to buy one. We want to know what's working. So here to talk about it all is John Limbach. He's a licensed realtor. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, let's just jump right on in here. What is it that you're seeing right now with the housing market? I've heard a lot of different things from a lot of different people.
Absolutely. So as inventory rises, buyers have more choices. Also, with higher mortgage rates, we're definitely seeing more pushback from consumers. You know, they're wanting more for their money, and I'm here to give you some examples of what to expect in 2026.
Okay, perfect. That said, let's go ahead and break out your crystal ball. What are you thinking?
So in 2026, I see buyers are moving away from sterile, white, contemporary homes that have been popular in years past, and they're wanting a home that feels lived in, warm, and inviting.
Okay. And what is it that current homeowners can do to make their house look like that? You know, people often say, oh, make it as plain as possible so the average person can see themselves in your home. But does that still hold true to this day?
No, I would say there are a couple things that you can do to stage the home and prepare it for sale. Look at preparing a quiet space or reading nook. With so much fatigue and folks are looking for a place to unplug from technology, and so it's nice to have a nice quiet reading nook. Maybe a large armchair with a cozy throw blanket. That would be a great way to start. In addition, are you familiar with the term color drenching?
I personally am not. I'm curious as to if anyone who's watching on any of our live channels is. If you are, let us know, but I'll give you the floor again.
Sure, thank you. So that color drenching is the term used for painting your trim color, your wall color, and your ceilings all one consistent color. Think moody greens, slate blues, warm charcoal tones, something that elevates the space without making it feel too bold or funky. I like to use this and when you're painting and staging a home, when you walk right through the front door, it's really a bold statement that allows to make an impact on what consumers remember about the home when they go home that evening.
Oh, yeah. I know another thing that makes homes really stand out is sports, right? If you can have an at-home gym, a basketball court. Of course, this is sounding very, old school MTV Cribs, dream house kind of situation. But what can the average person do in just a typical everyday home that would make the sports head and a potential buyer interested?
Absolutely. We're definitely seeing trends up in regards to golf simulators, home gyms, saunas, cold plunges. All of those are very expensive additions, but buyers are seeking more out of their extra spaces than just a bonus room. What I recommend is that even if you don't have a dedicated space for this, take your bonus room and stage it for a home gym and make it inviting, spa-esque. That way someone could really see how they could grow into the space.
Okay, here's a question for you, just for the average everyday person. I think of home gyms often being like in someone's garage. Is it worth having some equipment there to get people's wheels turning, or is that sort of old school now?
No, absolutely. We all need more space these days because a lot of people have repurposed rooms in their home for home offices. Garages are definitely on the table, as well as unfinished basements, but it's just nice to set the scene for what could be and what someone could use the space for.
I remember hearing a lot of talk about sustainable energy, even right on down to people putting up those lights in their lawn to try to fuel their home. What's worth it these days?
So sustainability is no longer niche. Sustainability is here to stay, and it's an expectation. Think smart thermostats, refreshed and blown in insulation, knowing your energy rating scores, such as a HERS score, electric car charging. These are things that consumers are diligently pursuing. They want to know what utility bills are, because that does influence the monthly payment, especially with higher borrowing costs.
So let's just talk about what it is you're thinking as it comes to people actually being able to buy homes, right? We're in the Atlanta area. It was once considered very affordable to do so here. People from all over the country were trying to get a property so that they could invest in it, if not live in it. Do you think Atlanta is still going to prove to be that kind of place, or have we moved on from that?
You know, I actually still see Atlanta very affordable when we look at the scope of the southeastern United States. It goes beyond just a mortgage cost. You know, you have things such as insurance, utility bills, and the availability of good paying jobs. So I still see buyers flocking to Atlanta for years to come.
Okay, can I just ask you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, if you don't know the answer, that's fine, but what are some specific neighborhoods? I've heard people say Mableton is the next up-and-coming area. Consider Snellville, even some places on the south side of Atlanta. What are the actual neighborhoods that we should really be pouring our money into?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with the hammer in terms of Mableton and Snellville. People are looking for affordability. You know, where are these pockets where someone can be close to the metropolitan area, close to their jobs, close to the airport, but still, you know, find a home at an affordable price. So I like where your head's at in Mableton and Snellville, but we're also seeing some of the further suburban or exurban markets such as Ball Ground becoming very popular.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Anyone out there who's interested in buying a home, please feel free to pipe up in the chat. We'd love to know if this information was helpful for you. I have a feeling that it was. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day and Happy New Year.
Of course. Happy New Year. Okay, you guys, speaking of, we've got a new year approaching, but we've still got to talk about the current year. There were plenty of events that happened. So as we close out 2025 in just a couple of hours, crazy to say, let's look back at some of the events that unfolded this year. So here's Fox's Bill Hemmer with a look at top stories that shaped 2025.
Let's go to break.
All right, you guys, you saw there was some technical difficulties there, but don't worry, we're going to be talking about the current year and what's to come all hour, so stay with us. More news to come on the stream right after this.
Georgia has seen its fair share of active weather through 2020. Well, it's no secret North and Central Georgia has seen its fair share of active weather through 2025.
Welcome back, everyone, to our news conversation. It is 11:18, and we want you guys to remember that the new year is approaching. We know many of you want to get out and have some fun. You might see some drones out there as the clock ticks. So how's the weather going to behave for all of that, Alex?
It's the million-dollar question, right? Because even a little bit of a breeze could throw off the drone show, right? You could still do fireworks with the breeze, but the drones, not so much. We're going to talk about it all. I want to start off with this, though, because we are working our way into a new year now, and we are dealing with moderate to severe drought across parts of north and central Georgia. And that's important because tonight lots of fireworks are going to go off across metro Atlanta, and we've got a lot of dry vegetation around. That combined with the low humidity and the gusty winds going to make for not as dangerous of a fire condition as we saw yesterday, but something that's not nothing across metro Atlanta and North Georgia here over the next several hours. So as we work our way into the overnight hours, I'm not saying don't shoot off the fireworks. I'm saying just keep an eye on those embers as they come down to the ground, because anything that lands on dry vegetation and is still able to keep its heat could potentially ignite something. And we are going to be looking at the types of conditions where that could spread easily. Again, that's today and tomorrow. We'll get some rain in here on Friday, which will change things up. 36 in Dalton right now, 41 in Atlanta, up to 43 in Covington and in Eatonton, 41 in LaGrange, and 36 over in Dalton. How about this wind? It's still out there. I was out on the weather deck a little bit ago. 35 is what it feels like right now in Atlanta, 37 in Covington, 39 in Eatonton, and 29 in Gainesville. So for the afternoon temperatures, we're going to briefly get into the 50s across north and central Georgia, but the majority of the day really defined by the 40s under clear skies. I'm looking for a high temperature in Atlanta of 50 on the dot, 48 in Canton, 48 in Gainesville, 51 over in Athens, and 52 in Eatonton. Here we go into the night tonight. So the drone show starts at 11:45. The fireworks are going to be at midnight. Temperatures slipping from the 40s down into the 30s. A little bit of a breeze out there. Again, not as strong as it has been, but a little bit of one will make it feel like the mid-30s there for the midnight hours. So still cold, just not as cold as it has been across north and central Georgia. Then for tomorrow, up to 58, 59 for Friday. And in the days to come, we'll work our way back into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday. Mind you, our average high temperature is 54. Our average low is 39. So we will be near that, in the ballpark of that, we'll say, for the new year. Here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast. I'm watching for rain, mainly late Friday into Saturday. I really think the majority of the daylight hours both days will be predominantly dry. It's the overnight that's going to be the wetter time period.
Okay, if you'd allow me a moment of corniness, I just want to give our graphics a round of applause. Those are beautiful. The Happy New Year, the clock ticking in the background. That is great. Isn't that pretty?
And I've got, it's not on this system. We run two different weather systems, but I've got the drones over Atlanta and the other system.
Nice.
So tune in for that at noon. That's
okay, there you go.
For.
You got to stay locked in with us in every capacity. Great to know, Alex. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Alex was talking about the temperatures here, and of course we know that it has been cold over the past couple of days. Yeah. But cold doesn't even begin to explain what it feels like for some people across the country. So many people are heading out into the cold and risking some serious health conditions. That said, we want to loop in Fox's Gary Baumgarten with ways to protect yourself even on a not so chilly day.
As winter weather blankets most of the country with snow and freezing temperatures, the cold can also heighten the risk of dangerous health conditions like hypothermia and frostbite. Health experts say these conditions can come in varying stages. Mild hypothermia can cause intense freezing and shivering.
When you get into moderate and severe ranges, you'll have confusion, decreased responsiveness.
Jenna Morgan at the Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center says frostbite symptoms can be seen on the skin.
You can have some skin changes that manifest as changes in color and texture of your skin. But eventually, once the frostbite sets in, you will have decreased sensation to that area.
Morgan says the elderly and young children are the most vulnerable to developing cold-related health conditions because they often have decreased awareness and mobility. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends getting medical help immediately, but if you can't, warming the center of a person's body is the best alternative to treating hypothermia.
Apply warm packs or, hot water packs to your chest, your armpits, your back, and that way when circulation comes back to the core, it hits the warmest spots.
To prevent hypothermia or frostbite before it begins, Morgan recommends bundling up when heading out into frigid temperatures.
Wear a hat and a scarf in a warm coat. Avoid going outside with wet hair.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Okay, in that same sense of the idea here of cold weather, we want to talk again with Alex Forbes about some pivotal weather moments of 2025. Here's a breakdown.
Well, it's no secret North and Central Georgia has seen its fair share of active weather through 2025. We've seen snowstorms, we've seen severe weather, even just straight line winds that can cause damage whenever something to that magnitude happens. We also missed out on some things as well. We're taking a look back at the year that was with weather with the meteorologist in charge from the National Weather Service in Peachtree City, Keith Stellman. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So, active year for some components of weather, but for others not so much. Number 5 on the list, where do we start?
Number 5 on the list is the hurricane season that was not this year. We did not have any landfalling U.S. hurricanes this year.
And so, a lot of people look at that and say, okay, well, where were they? That's not to say it wasn't an active season, right?
No, actually, it was a pretty active season for the Atlantic this year. We had 4 Category 4 or higher storms this year. Of the 4 major hurricanes this year, 3 of them were Category 5. That's only happened in 2 other seasons. This season and then 2004, we had 4 Category 5 storms.
And while we might have missed out on the hurricanes this year, we didn't necessarily miss out on a lot of the severe weather. So what's number 4 on the list?
Number 4 on their list is the Henry County tornado, the EF2 tornado from May 29th.
In Henry County, I mean, whenever we look back at 2025, it seems like that was kind of a hot spot for tornado warnings and actual tornadoes as they happened.
Yeah, there was actually 23 tornado warnings in and around the Henry County area this year with 8 tornado tracks. Unfortunately, the past few years, we've seen it numerous times in that region, from the Griffin tornado in 23 to the storms that passed this year. There's obviously a lot more cameras on the GDOT roadway, so we're able to capture a lot more. We just have had an active period during that part of the state.
And as meteorologists, something we like to talk about is that it doesn't always take a tornado to cause damage, and that brings us to number 3 on the list.
Number 3 is the straight line wind event that started in Pickens in northern Cherokee County and ran for 51 miles across Dawson, across northern Hall, across Lake Lanier, and into Banks County.
And where we are in the United States, we obviously have a lot of pine trees and things like that. Now, you actually did the survey of this event.
I did.
Can you talk a little bit about what you were looking for and why people who think that this might have been a tornado, why that might not be correct?
Sure. So in that survey, and some surveys like this are pretty complicated, it ended up being a bow echo, but what we were looking for were like consistency in the damage, and what we ended up seeing was about 1 mile to 1.5 miles wide swath of damage, but within that area of damage, we were seeing concentrated damage areas where the trees and everything would, like if you stepped back and looked at it, it would be more of a fanned out look to it, which is indicative of a microburst within the area of damage.
I think it really proves the point that just because something might look like tornado damage doesn't mean it is tornado damage.
An 89 mile an hour wind from a tornado is the same as an 89 mile an hour wind from a straight line wind event, which is what we saw in that case.
And while we all saw other strong storms this year, they didn't break the top 2. Let's do something a little more lighthearted. What's the number 2 event for 2025?
Number 2 event this year was the winter storm number 1, the January 10th winter storm.
Yeah, so a number of people saw snow out of that, particularly here in the metro area. And as we look at this, can you talk a little bit about the higher totals and how that broke a snow drought for some people?
Sure. So it's the biggest snow event we've had in Atlanta, the Atlanta metro, since the 2017-2018 season. So we're going back 7 years or so to the biggest event that we've seen like this. Anywhere from 2 to 4 inches fell in the I-20 corridor, particularly concentrated in the metro region.
And while that event was somewhat impactful, we had the first event that obviously coincided with the national championship here in Atlanta. That brings us to number 1.
Number 1 is the January 21st event of this past year. I don't know whether people realize how similar that event was to 2014 in terms of the way the atmosphere was behaving leading up to and during that event. It almost mimicked 2014 to a T.
And fortunately, we didn't repeat what we did in 2014. Can you talk a little bit about why that might be?
One was we had a lot more lead time leading up to this event. So we could see it coming a little better because we have hundreds of more models today than we did just 11 years ago. Two, the lessons learned from that event till now were applied in this case to prevent what happened in 2014. And it's a really good case of taking some lessons learned and using them to prevent a disaster like what we saw in 2014.
And one of those lessons learned that you might have noticed on Fox 5 last year that we adapted with the National Weather Service is those snow forecasts. And you're going to notice it this year as well. We're saying up to a certain amount of impact across the area. And that's something we got from
There's a certain perception. If you go back to 2014, the term dusting was used a lot. There's a certain perception that goes with that. And so in this case, we knew that if it did snow, it was going to be impactful. So we removed the word dusting, even though it was going to be light snow, because we knew it was going to freeze on impact.
All right, Keith, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Remember that you can stay connected to the Fox 5 Storm Team using the Fox 5 Weather app. You can download it in the App Store, the Google Play Store, and you can stay connected through 2026.
And if you're watching us on Fox Local, we've got a weather dashboard there whenever you need it. All right, you guys, we've still got lots more to talk about right after this. Stick around. Okay. Hey, Amalia, can you hear me?
So dark out. Now it's light out.
Testing, testing. Amalia, are you there?
The chance you got is at 9:30.
Hi, Amalia. Trying to do a mic check with you. Can you hear me?
From Mary. She's still the operations assistant.
Okay. Hey there, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi.
Fabulous. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly? Mary Elcordy?
That's correct. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm Alex. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We could be coming up anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. So if you could just be on standby, we'd appreciate it.
No big deal.
Perfect. We'll talk soon. Hey, Chris, it sounds like you guys are having a party over there.
Oh, it's a blast out here, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if only they could still be doing the Cupid Shuffle by the time we get to you.
Yeah, I think they'll be rocking. They'll be
okay, good.
Partying it up, so.
All right. I don't know if you're still listening, Chris, but you're going to be coming up after the Zoom.
Okay, all right, let me find my interview lady then.
Perfect.
Where is she?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the stream. I'm Alex Whitler. We appreciate you joining in on our news conversation. I'm going to keep pelting that into the ground, you guys, because this hour is so much more fun when you're talkative, when you're in the comments, when you're interacting, letting us know which stories actually stand out to you. So that said, the big story of the day is 2025 is just about out of here. The clock is ticking, just hours left of this year. And many of you might be trying to consider what you're going to do a little bit later, trying to come up with some plans. So maybe you yourself are the last minute social butterfly who's just now inviting people over to your home or maybe a lounge. So let's bring in Mary Elcordy, who is a spokesperson for Greetings Island. She's here to talk about why an invitation to an event like this is so important. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Happy New Year's Eve.
Yeah, well, let's just jump right on in. I feel like New Year's can be so casual. You can just say, come on over to my house. You don't have to wear anything fancy, or you could. So what is the logic here? What's the latest etiquette?
So definitely assuming close friends don't need clear invites is definitely not the move, especially this week. Really just setting expectations really fast. Like, is it casual? Should you bring a bottle? Is it fully hosted? Even if you send an invite today, using something visual or animated like the ones you would find on Greetings Island will help people feel like it's intentional and not last minute. And then also allowing people to bring a friend or two can help people increase their chances of coming because they're already planning on seeing those folks, and it makes them feel like they're a part of the party and fun of making it a good time tonight.
Yeah, there's something kind of intimidating about that person who seems like they've got their invitation just so put together, though. I just want to acknowledge it. If they are so to the T, it makes you go, whoa, I guess I really do have to get dressed up. I guess I should put a little makeup on. You know, so what's your advice to the average person who's debating, do I go out tonight or do I stay home and maybe do their skincare?
Well, I mean, I think people would rather see you than not, especially if they invited you. New Year's is an opportunity for people to come together and really mark the celebration and the reset for the new year. So I think whether you come by less dressed up or to the nines, people just want to see you. And then even if you just come by for a little bit and you're like a little hesitant, I'll just come by for 30 minutes. Who knows? You might have a great time and stay the entire evening. So giving that shot of just like maybe creating small steps of like, hey, let me just check it out. You know, even if I just put my Uggs on and a nice sweater, that's good enough.
Okay, I like to acknowledge both sides of a situation here. So I talked about the people who might be intimidated. Their social battery just might not be there right now. But let's also talk about the host who might be a little nervous, hoping that the turnout is great, right? There's nothing more humbling than inviting 20 people over and only 2 show up. So how do you handle that in that situation?
So, you know, I've thrown many parties in my life, and I used to base it on if just one friend came, I would have a great time. And if there happened to be 20 or 30, that's even better. And, you know, I think assuming that usually people will bring something if they come to your party, not everyone, but having enough that even if only, 15 people show up, that you're good. And if you have extra stuff at the end of the night, that's stuff that you can use later on, or you can throw another party.
Another party. I like the sound of that. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time. Hopefully we'll have you back on again soon.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Well, that said, we also want to give you guys ideas on how to enjoy the new year without having to stay up so late. So let's check in now with Chris Rosenthal, who is, nope, that's not Chris Rosenthal. That's Amalia Roy. Hey, good to see you. I saw you a bit earlier today. She's in Las Vegas talking about all of the New Year's excitement there. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. This is not the place to be if you just want to stay in for New Year's Eve, because here it's parties, it's big events, and it's also a massive light and fireworks show that's going to be all throughout the Strip.
Let's talk about it. Have you ever spent time in Vegas on New Year's Eve? Just a quick yes or no.
I have not.
Okay, so this is going to be a first for you. How are you feeling? Are you thinking the people are going to be rambunctious? Are you nervous?
Very unfortunately, I'm actually not going to be here to see the countdown or the fireworks. I'm heading back home to Phoenix, but I did get something that some might say is a little better sometimes. I got the behind-the-scenes preview. I got to see all the workers setting up the fireworks. I got to get a look at what the drone show will look like, so that was really cool. But when it comes time for the countdown, it will be back home in Phoenix in Mountain Time.
Oh, nice. I've got some family in Phoenix. It's gorgeous over there. Your weather's going to be fine. But for those of us who are still considering some things to do, what is it that people are thinking as it comes to tourism? You know, are people saying, hey, I just might catch a flight for the new year?
If we're talking about this year, the Strip, it's going to be packed. I spoke with the CEO of the Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority. They're saying hotels are looking at 95% capacity. I can speak from personal experience, and even trying to get this set up, it was very difficult to find a hotel. Also very difficult to find one in the heart of the Strip. People really want those prime viewing locations. But there were some dips in tourism over the summer, but New Year's Eve, Las Vegas, it's always a huge holiday, huge event time for the city, especially the Strip.
Okay, well, one final question for you then. You kind of hinted at this a bit earlier, but the weather, we know that it can be a ripple effect. If someone's like, okay, I'm trying to get home to wherever just to spend the new year with my people. Have you seen any weather concerns out there lately?
So I spoke with the coordinators of the fireworks and the drone show happening. Of course, they are really looking at weather. One man even joked. He said, we saw some fear of rain. Take it with you when you leave back to Phoenix. But they said that in terms of that part of the event, they are very confident. These fireworks, these drones, they can perform even in rain. When it comes to snow, or not snow, wind, when it comes to wind, it's something where they are checking constantly. It is an increment. There is a set limit to what they consider safe or unsafe, so they're making sure that there are no 11:55 decisions. They want to know way in advance.
Yeah, and we've got a drone show happening here. We had you on Good Day Atlanta earlier in the day, so we noticed that parallel between the different celebrations. So fingers crossed that we don't have any issues like that tonight. Of course, this is a big one for us because it'll be the first time that we've had a show like this. Everyone's so used to the peach drop here, so there's a lot of people holding their breath with high hopes that this will be just as, if not even more, impressive. All right, Amalia, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here with us. We'll check back with you a bit later on. And Happy New Year. Okay, so now let's get back to what I was talking about. Chris Rosenthal, I'm sure I gave you quite the scare when I said, let's get back to him with these New Year's Eve celebrations. But man, you guys are having a lot of fun out there. I can hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, for most of us have to wait about 12 hours for 2026 to come. But here it's about to be 2026 in Peachtree City. Not really, but this is a New Year's Eve celebration for the kids, you know, so they don't have to stay up super late, but still have a bit of a New Year's celebration of their own here at the Avenue, Peachtree City. This place is crowded. It is packed. They will drop those balloons here at noon. They've got music. They've got a DJ. They've got even a little train ride around the parking lot here. A little bit of everything. They've got balloons. I see a lot of kids walking around with balloons, still waiting in line to get their balloons. Hopefully they can get those by you know, in the next 20 minutes, ready for the big balloon drop. Inside there, they've even got one of these cool snow globe bouncy house type things here. That looks like a lot of fun. And I got Kelly here with the Avenue here, Peachtree City. Tell me about this event. I mean, what's the idea behind all of this?
Yeah, so here at the Avenue, we love to have families here for many occasions, and we love to offer safe alternatives and ways for people to kind of spend time together. Today's kind of idea is to just have a really fun dance party to ring in the new year. So instead of at midnight, we're going to celebrate at noon.
And I mean, tell me I mean, how many people you got out here? Tell me about the response you guys have.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got quite a bit of families out here today, in the hundreds for sure. We're looking to have a great turnout, especially as we get closer to noon when we do our big balloon drop.
Yeah, and I hear Baby Shark in the main room there, so that's definitely. I know the parents are loving that. So yeah, I mean, you see, tell me about all the different things these kids have out here.
Yeah, so to look forward to today, we've had a couple of different elements out here. Like behind me here, we've got a great photo opportunity for parents. It's like a nice little bouncy house snow globe. We filled it with some balloons to kind of add into our theme, which for today is a bit of a throwback to the 80s. I'm an 80 babies myself, so love the 80s and the neon colors and just that bright, fun energy. So we wanted to bring that to the event today. On top of that, we've had balloon artists out, train rides. You can get some hot chocolate across the way as well. But I hope everybody's just kind of getting into the spirit, getting ready to dance. And the balloon drop will happen right at noon, and it is fun.
Any minute now. And of course, adults can stick around and maybe a little bit more for them to do later, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Once the event wraps up at noon, I encourage families to stick around, check out some of our restaurants if they want to go ahead and pop in to, say, Positano's, grab some pizza. pizza, Hobnob. They've got some great food as well, along with 9292 Korean barbecue.
Awesome. All right, Kelly, thank you so much. We're going to stick around and watch that that noon balloon drop. You know, interestingly enough, I was just looking at the map, and when it turns noon years here, it will also be official New Year's in Indonesia. So they're 12 hours ahead. So just a little interesting factoid there.
Yeah, that's nice to know. Hey, we're never doing this alone, right? That's one thing that we get to see this time of year, is that there's always someone in some other time zone that is ushering in the new year. Gosh, Chris, I've got to say, God bless you. You just had to deal with Baby Shark. I'm glad you've got a new song now to jam out to.
Yeah, me too. So
it looks like a great time. I love seeing the kids with their little balloon swords. Can't wait to see those balloons come hurling down. That looks like it's going to be a really good time. And there's still time for any parents to get out there. It's 11:44, so the new year, if you will, the noon year has not yet begun, so you've still got a little bit of time. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it. Gosh, I told you that all hour long we were going to be talking about New Year's Eve celebrations. Here's one that I hinted at a little bit earlier when I was speaking with Amalia Roy. It should be pretty exciting too. So if you're from the Atlanta area, or if you've lived here for any significant amount of time, you know that the peach drop has been the thing to do, right? Well, this year that's no longer happening. Don't expect to see those large crowds at Underground Atlanta, because instead there will be hundreds of drones in the sky. The city of Atlanta has released new details about the countdown over ATL. It's a decentralized countdown to the new year. So the celebration features synchronized drone displays and even fireworks right after, designed to be visible from backyards and neighborhood spots, maybe even a couple of high rises or rooftops from all over our area. This is even tempting me, someone who wakes up in the middle of the night to give you the morning news. Makes me think I might want to just stay up to see how impressive it is. So if you're curious about how this will work, let's walk you through it. Long and the short, no peach drop this year. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens says he wants to make sure this holiday is more accessible and safe. He's trying to disperse large crowds. So he has essentially said that the event is coming to you guys. I remember we had a quote from him earlier this morning saying, "You don't have to go anywhere. We're coming to you." City officials say the new model strengthens public safety operations, aligns with a commitment to equity, and of course, the drone peach will be the most visible. I can't wait to see how that'll go. Of course, our big question is if the wind is going to cooperate. So if you're curious about how you can watch this, here's one suggestion. Figure out some sort of high roof. You know, bars have rooftops. Yeah, it might be a little bit chilly, but that might be a good one. Maybe you've got a friend or a neighbor who's got this perfect centralized view of Midtown. That could be good. Here's what the city officials are saying, so you don't have to just trust me. They say that this synchronized firework display will be exactly 12 minutes, and anyone with an obstructed view should go to a local business, like I said, or a rooftop, a deck, a friend's house with an elevated vantage point. So keep that in mind. If you can get to higher ground, if you will, do so. So let's talk about your pets, because we know a lot of you are used to them freaking out this time of year, if we just want to call a spade a spade. So fireworks do cause anxiety for them. Owners should secure their pets indoors. Key word here, before midnight, another key phrase, and ensure that they have updated ID tags or microchips just in case they do end up spinning out of control, running away for a period of time. You'd hate to have one of your loved furry friends go and take a hike. You want to make sure you can get them back to your loving and warm home. So keeping a television or music on at a comfortable volume can also keep their anxiety low. I've got a friend who's got a dog who's very anxious. They put on smooth jazz, and I absolutely love that for Libby. Libby is the cutest little furry dog. So, okay, let's also talk about sensory sensitivities. People who are sensitive to loud noises, including those with PTSD, anyone living with autism or any other sensory sensitivity, may want to use some earplugs or noise-canceling headphones. Moving to a quiet indoor space during this 12-minute display is also a good idea. That's not just coming from me. It's coming from city officials themselves. One final note on public safety here, and I'm going to read out some of my notes to you directly. It says, the citywide display is authorized and managed by licensed professionals. So essentially, don't try to do this at home. Residents are asked to not call 911 to report fireworks unless there is a genuine emergency. So we don't want to inundate those call logs that already are going to be dealing with quite a bit. So for general questions, the public can contact ATL 311. And of course, if you have any other concerns, we've got information for you on fox5atlanta.com and the free Fox Local app. Well, stay with us because we've still got some inspiring stories for you guys right after this. Hey there, I want to make sure that I am understanding correctly. Is this Alexandria Courier that I'm speaking with?
Yes, hi.
Great. I was under the impression that there would be two of you. Do you know by chance? I'm hearing from a producer that it's just you. Never mind.
Okay.
Sorry to put you on the spot there. We're coming up in less than 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, how about some good news to close out the new year? We want to focus on some generosity, community support, and student achievement. So education is at the heart of the Coast Guard Foundation's mission to essentially help the next generation. They're investing in Coast Guard families. So listen to this. There are 255 scholarships totaling almost $1 million, $925,000 to support college and trade school education for dependent children of Coast Guard members. So that's we want to bring in one of those scholarship recipients. We've got Alexandria Courier here. Good to see you.
Hello.
Okay, first of all, congratulations. This is a big deal. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Just take the floor.
Yeah, so I actually graduated with my BA in history 2 weeks ago. I received the Thank you. I received the Coast Guard Foundation scholarship for multiple years. It helped me out very greatly. I actually have two Coast Guard parents. One was enlisted and one was an officer. So a little unusual, but I have two Coast Guard parents. And the whole way through my degree, the Coast Guard Foundation just really helped me out, both with the financial aspect of covering college, but also with encouragement and just helping in general, any questions I have. So
great. Well, I just want to let you know that we're really proud of you. It sounds like you've already finished this degree. I was thinking that we were going to speak with someone who was getting ready to embark on it. But gosh, it sounds like this program has already been so successful that you're like checking off the list, on to the next. So tell me, how did you find out about the program?
So When I was a senior in high school, I was trying to look at scholarship opportunities just because, college is one of those things that you have to plan for the cost of it, definitely. And so the first thing I did was I started looking into, my parents being Coast Guard. I was trying to see if there were any scholarships for dependents because I know they exist for other branches. So then the Coast Guard Foundation came up and I was able to apply online. I had, several teachers that kind of helped guide me through, okay, let's read over this essay. Let's see how we can make it better. And just strengthening my application, learning how to put myself and my achievements forward. And that was history, and that was that. So
can you just speak to how much of a weight was lifted when you did receive this scholarship, just to humanize this for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the cost of college is something that I think weighs on everyone who's considering it. As a high school senior, I didn't have a lot of, work experience or anything. So it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I can afford to go to college, not take out loans, not take out debt. I graduated with no debt, which I am
that's huge.
Beyond grateful for. And it took away all of my anxiety about, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to be able to succeed academically and balance, a work-life schedule? I was able to, take on a job that I didn't have to focus as much on. I need this amount of hours to cover my tuition, and I need to do this much extra work so that I can afford this. And of course, my parents, I know, are very grateful for me having the opportunity to go to college and not take on debt, not take on that anxiety of just, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Can you give us some more perspective? I know there might be some Coast Guard families watching, so they are already familiar with this. But for those who are not as familiar, what's something that people just don't necessarily understand about Coast Guard families?
That's a good question. I think that for me, it's always an interesting, interaction, because when I say that my parents are, veterans or things like that, I think that sometimes people do leave out the Coast Guard. They don't always think of, a lot of people I've interacted with are like, oh, they're thinking Air Force, they're thinking Navy, and the Coast Guard has such an important role in the U.S. military, and, just acknowledging that it's there and acknowledging that Coast Guard families do make sacrifices just as well as other military families, and that, they also need resources for college and education and things like that.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder. Of course, there are so many different holidays that honor veterans, and it is important to include the Coast Guard in that remembrance and saying thank you. So if your parents are listening, thank you, Alexandria's parents, for your service. Hey, do you go by Alexandria or do you go by Alex?
Well, on everything official, I tend to go by Alexandria, but Alex is just, it's a nickname. It's not as long, but
I get it completely. That's my name too, girlfriend. Love it. Okay, one final thing I want to point out. We've been pointing out on this banner here that the Coast Guard is investing in Georgia's youth. So where in Georgia are you from?
So I am located in Ackworth, Georgia. So I'm near Atlanta, but still in the suburbs area. So that's where I am.
It's great to see a success story come out of Atlanta's suburbs. I would consider it a suburban area. So thank you so much for breaking this down for us. Hopefully you've inspired someone, a Coast Guard's family, a Coast Guard member's family. You know what I'm trying to say here. Someone who is connected to the Coast Guard who is studying. Hopefully they have been inspired and thought, you know what, I'm going to apply for this scholarship too.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, you guys, we have just a couple of seconds left of this hour, but I do want to point out that there are plenty of other local stories that are available to you, not just here, but on the local app. So thank you all so much for sticking around. And here comes your news at noon. Have a great day.